I used to tell people the army is not for everyone. It's not. There's people that come in, finish their first contract if they can make it. If not, they try to find ways to get out. It's not for everyone. But everything that I do have, I owe it to the army. Everything. My work ethic, the discipline, and I'm not saying I'm perfect by no means, but a lot of my attributes that I have now, it is because of the army and what it instilled in me.
All right, and welcome back to Regiment Lacrosse, a podcast for veterans, active duty, first responders, and families that understand sacrifice, service, and the cost of standing watch. Today, we have another special episode. I have a soldier, non-commissioned officer, what we call in the Army the backbone of the military. He's a recruiter, so he's the first contact that most civilian kids see or parents when they want to join the military. He's the guy sitting behind the desk offering all the goodies. No, I'm kidding. And so, like I said, he's the Army. He served in first Cav around the same time that I did. So he's a first Cav trooper. Probably has a Stetson, and I should have brought my Stetson. I have it somewhere around here. And he was what we call med boarded out. We'll talk about what a med board means, but he was medically retired out for injuries suffered while serving. So I'm going to let him introduce himself.
All right. So my name is Jaime Barraza. I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. I joined the army out of there. I joined in June 4th of 2013. The reality, I just joined because I had nothing going on. There was nothing else around there. My dad owned a business, but we weren't in the best of terms, so I didn't really want to be there. I know a lot of times I laugh because I'm like, man, I left because I was heartbroken from like a high school sweetheart. Um, so I just joined. I was like, I literally Googled best MOS in the army, and then the first thing that came up was 11 X-ray, like just infantry, and I was like, that sounds cool. So I literally just went to the recruiting station. I told him the guy was infantry too, Sergeant Coleman, and he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" I was stationed at Fort Bliss as soon as I came in, and then went to Germany, and then came to the first cab. We did a rotation to Korea, and when I came back, I wanted to do something that was more family oriented, so I could spend more time with my kids and my wife. So recruiting seemed like the best fit. Uh, I volunteered, and then I got essentially the second option that I had put as a request. I wanted to stay in the Killeen area because I'm like, we already got a house here, and I'll just stay here. But they were like, no. So we ended up in San Antonio. Um, and then when I med boarded after that, we were like, let's just stay here. My wife's from Virginia. We didn't want to go over there because the cost of living is insane. And I didn't want to go back to Arkansas because in reality, there's nothing there. So I was like, hey, let's just stay here. It's not too bad. So
Well,
here we are today.
military city USA, so they say.
Yeah,
It's a little bit overblown, but there
yeah, it
are a
is.
lot of
It's
military,
a lot everywhere you go.
and then you do have BAMC, Brooks Army Medical Center, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
Lackland. I honestly don't go downtown or anything like that anymore. Or I'm on the outside of San Antonio,
Oh,
west,
okay.
north of Castroville, more like by Bandera. So if you're out there,
Oh,
um,
okay.
so you were a recruiter, and you. It's funny that you would say I wanted more family time. I became a recruiter because that's normally the opposite. That's one of the most high occupational hazard because you a lot of hours, a lot of stress. It used to be anyway, and it was a lot of pressure to be a recruiter.
So it is, yeah, that's 100%. But what I found out that as long as you're doing your job and you're recruiting people, they'll leave you alone. Like the good thing about recruiting, you have the freedom of maneuver to do whatever you want. Like as long as you're doing your job, they won't ask you questions. You come in and out the office as you please. Meaning, like once you start slacking in something, they're gonna keep you in the office and they're gonna watch you with the magnifying glass. But I thank God that in my 2 years as a recruiter, I was very successful, and I never had the issue where I felt that it was a crazy, insane job. Of course, like there were stressors, right? Like, oh man, this person was supposed to pass medical, he didn't, blah blah blah. But yeah, I was never, I did spend a lot more time with my family here. Weekends, yes, every once in a while, but it wasn't too crazy because I was in a big station and we had like 14 or 15 recruiters in there. So, we spread the wealth as far as like weekend duties or
Right.
weekend details or whatever.
Being infantry, first cav, Germany. I was in Korea, first cav, Germany as well. So I did my first tour was Korea. I never was at Bliss, just TDY. And then I did my last before I retired. I was at Fort Leavenworth, not in prison, but I was. I, but and then I actually retired out of San Antonio. There used to be an army uh, deal going on at Lackland, and then they closed it down, sent it to Pentagon, and I retired at the same time. So you served 11 years. If someone asked you what was the most important lesson learned from your time in the service,
So straight out the rip, like I used to tell people, the army is not for everyone. It's not. There's people that come in, finish their first contract if they can make it. If not, they try to find ways to get out. It's not for everyone. Um, but everything that I do have, I owe it to the army. Everything. My work ethic, the discipline, and I'm not saying I'm perfect by no means, but a lot of my attributes that I have now, it is because of the army and what it instilled in me. When you when I first came in as a private, a lot of it was, and it was probably worse even probably when you came in, but it was a lot of toxic leadership. Um, but I learned what I didn't want to be. And at first, like when I was like a young corporal, we wanted to be like that, toxic. And then over the years, I realized, what am I doing? Right? It's like I don't want to be that. So I mean, I think over the years, I became empathetic, sympathetic, understanding. Like, yes, of course, like we're grunts, but at the end of the day, we're human. And at the end of the day, it's like no matter who you are, nobody wants to get treated like crap. No, nobody wants to, get ridiculed 24/7 or smoked for no reason or yelled at for no reason. There is a time and place for everything. There is, but it's not always. And a lot of leaders in the army think that it's always that you need to always have that hot headedness turn on, and that's not always the case. But I learned how to, and this was like old, like later in the years, I learned how to control and regulate my emotions. I learned how to sympathize with people, empathize with people, and just to treat individuals well like human beings. But I think overall, it's just it made me level headed. But if you can, it's like the three things that we always told, right? Be at the right place at the right time in the right uniform. If you can do all those three, and just understand that sometimes, especially young, and even like when you serve sometimes you just need to shut up and be quiet because you might have something to say, but is what you're about to say fruitful or not? And does it benefit anything that's going on or at the moment? Right. Times where I disagreed with my squad leaders or even team leaders or platoon sergeants, but at the end of the day, it's like just be quiet. If they ask for input, that's the difference. But if they don't, just be quiet.
just
And
execute
I
and
had to
move
learn
out,
that the
right?
hard
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, that's helpful. I mean, following orders, and sometimes you may not know the reason or why, and it always comes from somewhere. I'm sure the platoon sergeants got it from first sergeant got it from whoever, and there's always a
Yeah.
lieutenant colonel in the mix that thinks he knows the best or something.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but so that's actually very powerful that you say that everything you got, and I do think I got out kind of bitter a little bit. I was told after so many years, hey, it's time for you to move on. Basically, forced not forced out, but told to get out.
Mhm.
And but I was still able to retire. Uh, I have everything. I owe everything for, like you said, in the military. My daughter is able to use my GI Bill to go to college.
Mhm.
Here in Texas, a very expensive one, and I was very fortunate. I had two younger kids later in life, and I don't think they remember my, even though I just got out in 21, I don't know if they remember my time in the service, where I used to work the long hours. I was at Fort Hood. Uh, you get up at PT at whatever time, and then you're leaving at whatever time after the flag goes down. So it's yeah, life at the Great Place. That's what they call Fort Hood.
It's a great place.
Is not so great, and it's but it's grows on you because I look back at my time at First Cav. You can look at my wall. These are all a lot of First Cav bling, and no, I enjoy it. I enjoyed the horses. I enjoyed the cavalry charges, and if you've never been to Fort Hood, they have a really nice museum that they just built. It's called the Mounted Warrior Museum. If you go to Fort Hood, just be prepared to work. I mean, because it's moving. You're either going to Korea, you're going to Romania, you're going to Poland,
Poland, yeah.
you're going to Kuwait, you're going to the National Training Center in California or
Oh,
JRTC.
JRTC.
Yeah, so you're on the move, and it's fast paced, and like you said, the military is not for everybody. But I do recommend that if you're just like you said, yeah, nothing going on, maybe give it a try. I'm Give it a try. There's always the other services, but I think people do benefit from their time in the service if they had good leaders, like you said, and maybe a good leader like you that would just say, "Hey, let's treat people with some respect, and maybe we'll get further than always having to be a drill
Mhm.
sergeant, and then take just always being on people." No one likes that, and toxic leadership. No one likes to talk with toxic leader as well. So, but you were what we you went over it at the beginning, but you were an infantryman. So an infantryman is what we call ground pounders. You're the first in, the guys that clear the way, the guys that go and break everything. I was an artilleryman, so I was your supporter. Back, I was actually in 1-9 Cav, in first, I think I was third brigade, and I was a fire support officer. So I used to be with the infantry guys. I had a Bradley uh, vehicle, and we drive around with you guys, and it was pretty fun. I did do a rotation at National Training Center before the war kicked off, at NTC as a fire support officer. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed working at the infantry. There were good guys. The only problem is you guys weren't like artillerymen. You guys had never ate for some reason. Your chow was always missing. And I think I went like a week with chili mac, the same meal every day, for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, but and then when I went back to the artillery guys, they were always getting good chow. That's what I remember. So, but you transitioned to, so you got out. Your wife's from Virginia. You're from Arkansas. Do you have any kids?
Yeah, we have 3 daughters.
So you have three daughters. And what are their ages?
12, 9, and 3.
Okay, so that's a good young spread. So they're young enough to
Oh, yeah, they're super young.
enjoy what what you transitioned to after the military. So you joined a program. Did did you skills bridge in, or did you just found out about battleground to breaking ground?
So, I just found out, like, during that time when, like, for the longest time, I was asking God, I'm like, "God, what do you want me to do?" Because I was in that window of, my final reenlistment, right? So, the in-def, right? Or getting out. And I was already struggling with that because I wouldn't mind doing the last 9 years. I was like, I'll do it. I'll just suck it up, get the retirement, and I was ready. But during that time, I'm like, God, just show me the sign because I cannot take the step on myself. I cannot decide, right? And I kept having back issues. And just one time, one of the final appointments that I had, they were like, "Hey, look, you're too young for surgery. We will not do a surgery on you. So we're gonna recommend that you get out." So then when that happened, I was like, "Well, there's my sign."
Is there a sign?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, all right, God, I hear you. So I'm gonna do it. So during that time, I was like, man, I gotta figure out what I want, what I'm going to do. And I always loved agriculture. Like growing up, because I lived in Mexico for like 3 years. But during that time, we were still kids, and we used to go with like my uncle to the fields or with my grandpa to the fields. And I always loved all that, or even the animals in my grandpa's backyard, all that stuff. But I just never pictured myself doing it because I joined the army and I was like, I'm gonna be a lifer. I'm gonna do the 20. and we'll see what happens. And I've always wanted to do it, so I started researching, and I'm like, what can I do? And then boom, I just happened to find myself on that program, the battleground program,
Right.
and it was through Texas A&M. So I was like, oh, well, it's here in Texas. Let's find out. I did research, and then that's when I talked to. That's when I met Doug.
Doug. Yeah. Doug was my
Yep.
mentor as well.
Yeah.
So,
So I met
uh,
him, uh, and then I applied for the scholarship, did the whole program. But yeah, it was just random research. I was just trying to find something ag related that wasn't college because you don't really learn anything like that, like the hands-on aspect
right.
of it.
Right.
Mhm.
So you told me you raise broilers
Yes.
and laying hens. So
Yes.
broilers, for everybody that don't know, those are meat birds. We call them meat birds, and you process those for consumption or selling.
Yes.
So I just processed with a friend of mine. I think we did 50, and then another 30, so about 80
Yeah.
in like a month's period. I have a chicken plucker, so we had a whole process. We had, and most of the guys that were there were former military, so we had, or retired military, so we had a process. We had the Air Force pararescue guy was dispatching and cutting the heads off. I was boiling and then put them through the plucker. And then all their kids, to their credit, when they were teenagers, they were doing the processing, which was, and we had a whole system. And then the
Oh, they
moms
were
were,
doing the evisceration.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
they had, we were weighing them and bagging them and tagging them and freezing them. It was a really good process. It took a long time, but we had a, it was like we all came together. We knew what had to happen. No one was on their phones, which I was really happy with the teens. They weren't on their phones or were grossed out by guts or
No,
heads.
no, yeah.
They were
That's
just,
yeah.
it was moving.
Yeah.
So you have broilers, and then you have laying hens, which I have laying hens um a lot. That was the first thing I did is I got um I had chickens before I got out because we moved out, and then I bought sheep. Well, we started with goats, and then we went to sheep, and then I have about 30 sheep. Uh,
No.
a- and then I help a friend. He has two longhorns, and my sheep are on his place because mine is a little bit too small. So he's nice enough to let me use his property, which is very helpful. I just help him around his place, do odds and ends. But that's where we're at. But how do you find peace ranching or farming?
So me personally, yes, because if it's the for me, it fit the lifestyle that I wanted, right? Like I didn't want to go back to the conventional workforce. I didn't. That's something that I did not want to. Not because, not because I'm lazy or nothing like that, but because I don't know. It just like, and I know, like, I don't want to say it like that, but it sounded to me like a downgrade in a way. And on top of that, too, it's like a lot of corporate America or just the society in general is not something that I want because I'm trying to be home more to go pick up a job that's going to be a 9 to 5. Then it kind of kills that whole point. So this lifestyle has given me so much peace because everything is at my tempo. Everything still gets done. Of course, like selling the products is very rewarding. Having those regulars that come see you is very rewarding. Just, I mean, everything itself is very peaceful.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. That's what I said. I remember taking a video because I when I got out, I thought I was this big bad, oh, I'm a retired, whatever, lieutenant colonel. I'm gonna have people knocking at my door to hire. No one. I put out about 1,000 applications. USAA, all these folks that like, oh, we help better. Not a one. Homeland Security, everything. I was like, I can do this. I can do that. I have all this experience, deployments, this and that, and I got zero. I even tried Army ROTC, I, junior ROTC. They're in
Oh,
San
okay.
Antonio, and I was like,
Yep.
"This is a shoe in, dude." And then nothing. I mean, so I got a little bit depressed, down, going. I was like, "Wow, all this service, nobody gives you know what." And then I joined. Um, what did I do? I was gonna retire. I was finishing out my retirement, and then my branch manager said, "Hey, I got one more assignment for you in San Antonio if you want to take it." I was like, "Oh, that's where I plan on retiring anyway." So I did 3 more years and then I retired. But then I found the battleground program. I just out of luck, I was searching the internet one day about
Uh-huh.
veterans programs,
Yep.
and it came up, and I asked, and then I signed up and went, and now I forget what year I did it, but so it must have been 2021, and so I like tomorrow I'm going to shearing school in San Angelo, so I you always learn all these other skills, right? That's the second time I'm going, but so shearing, uh, my wife's into the wool, so everybody's bought in on my end, and I think that's what's important is you got to get some buy-in too from the family because sometimes you go all in and they're like, "Well, I don't like killing animals or what have you." So I don't know. What's your opinion?
As long as I mean, the biggest thing is, like, as long as your family's not against it, you're good. Like, my wife, she works full time, uh, so she's not here, on ground with me the majority of the time, where when I'm killing the killing is usually done by me, by myself, or volunteers. And then about 6 months ago, I moved in my grandparents, and my grandpa's 89, so he comes out here and with me, and he tries to help. He cuts the feet, tail, and head, and I do everything else. So he just sits there, and yeah, he's very helpful. It's good to have company as well, because not every time I have volunteers to come and help, and sometimes I do. It just depends. But I mean, the biggest thing is as long as the family's not against it. Like my oldest daughter, she knows how to eviscerate now, and she knows how to do the whole process, but she's more comfortable doing the evisceration if she has to, right? But it's like I always tell them, this is my dream, not theirs. I'm never going to force them to do it. I mean, they have chores and obligations in the house, but I will never sit here and be like, you must eviscerate, you must kill with me. No, like this is my thing, not theirs. But I mean, even then, like they'll help out. They help me when I'm packaging, like doing cut ups on the meat. They'll help me package the meat. They'll help me label because they got better handwriting than I do. Um, like stuff like that. But when my wife is off, she's very helpful. There's been times where she gets home from work or even on her days off, she'll come and she'll, be like, "Oh, well, you're doing it alone. Let me come in." She'll help me. She'll eviscerate. She'll kill. She'll do everything. Like she's down. She's down to do everything. But I don't expect her to do anything because she has a full-time job, and that's more than enough.
Yeah, that's a good point. And but so where do you sell your products, and how do you get it to from farm to market? How does that work?
So we have a farmers market in San Antonio. It's called Sunset Ridge Farmers Market, and that is our main and only market that we go to. We actually just hit a year this month of us going there. The clientele is amazing. The community is amazing. So we have delivery options, which is not really like most people just come to the market. They'll order online and they'll just pick up in market. And then they can also pick up here at the house, which there's like one or two, but the main traffic is definitely at the.
Oh, that's good. Do you obviously you're a member of the Farmer Veteran Coalition?
Yes.
So do you have they have a little emblem you can put on your stand as well, like was it Homegrown Heroes or something?
Oh yeah, homegrown by heroes.
Yeah.
I haven't done that. I don't even know how to do it.
Okay, just
I
go
know it is.
online. It's just something, some more bling you can put on your for product placement. Um, so it's kind of like not a really an endorsement, but like shows veteran owned and run type thing. It's free, and it's I have the little placard, and you can put on your business cards and stuff
Maybe I
like
have
that.
it.
So
I don't know. I
yeah,
have to
well,
see.
it's
But
good to have
I
for
know what you're talking about. I've seen it. I've
yeah.
seen it. I've seen it before.
Okay, so you do farmers markets, and then do you have like a web page or
We
Facebook
do.
page?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's bornagainfarm.com and then our Instagram and a Facebook
Okay. So I'll post that. I'll get that for you. I'll post it in the links and I'll put the page up. But so it's Born Again
farm.
Farm. Okay. And so you do and any plans to expound on anything else or it's enough?
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And of course, we live on 2 acres, so we're limited to what we have. Uh, over the years, God has shown me like, yo, be grateful with what you got. Right, because when I first started the battleground program, I'm like, heck yeah, we're gonna buy more land. I'm gonna get some cows. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get that. When I went to that program, I got humbled during the boot camp version of
Hmm.
the thing that we do there at College Station. because there was a guy that was graduating, and he's the same thing. He's like, when I started, I wanted cows and this and that, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Miss leased some ground to him, or he's able to live on the property and raise a cow. But his dream was like bunch of cows, but he started with one cow, and he's like, I'm learning that it doesn't work that way. So through time, I was like, all right, I'm okay with where we're at. Everything that we need to do, we'll do it here. But I do want to expand in, when is it? April, I believe, March or April. We're gonna get some goats for
Okay.
milk.
Okay.
We're gonna do that. Initially, it'll only be for us as I learn and the ins and outs and everything of that, and then we want to. I got a grant not too long ago, and I'm going to use it for orchards. And I'm also looking to build or create like about 2 or 3 rows for a garden, so we can start, just slow with simple vegetables like lettuce, stuff like that. Because that's the next step. Those are like the next things, like the 50-meter target, 100-meter target that we want to do. I mean, just to keep us more busy, I guess.
Well, that's good. I often agree with you. People that get into ranching, they will get everything, and then they overconsumed bunnies, chickens, quail, goats, sheep, cat, and then you're like, whoa, you're a master of none, or was it master? You keeper of
Yeah,
none,
it's
or
a
master of
jack
all,
of all
keeping.
trades and a master
Yeah.
of none.
So we slimmed down. We got rid of the quail. A lot of work, but the eggs were super good, and you could sell them for a lot. So that, but bunnies, we found out they were a whole lot of work. They either die when they were born, or they would always give at the wrong time. So we had bunnies, we had chickens, we had eggs, and I think we're just down to sheep, a few goats, and if I could get rid of the goats, I would. But they're not for like milking or anything. And then what else? We're back into Angora bunnies, which are just for you cut their hair and it's for process wool. Uh,
Okay.
and then they actually are pretty expensive. You could those doggone bunnies run for about two. If you could sell them, they're $200 a bunny. So
Wow.
yeah. So I don't know who pays $200 a bunny. Well, I did, but there are people that do.
If you did it
So
once, somebody will do
yeah,
it.
yeah, there is a market out there. No, but I appreciate you coming on. I think I learned a lot, and I wish you the best. I'm glad that you had a good story. Like none of us take this leap. It's always scary to take this leap, and then I'm glad. I liked
Well,
how you said you asked for
a-
guidance from God and just showed you the way, which is good.
and
Um,
it's always like that because I think that's like one of the things in the military. I mean, I want to speak for other branches, but for the army, there's always the stigma like you won't make it. You need the army. You're gonna get out. You're gonna be a failure. You're not gonna make it. The grass is not always greener on the other side. And it's like I told people, like sometimes and it's not for everyone, but getting out was the best thing that I ever did at the current time that I got out. And for me, in my scenario, the grass is greener on the other side because I'm a lot happier. It's a lot more calm. I'm not stressed out all the time. I'm not worried all the time. I mean, yes, like of course, I'm only human. We do have stressors, but a lot of the stressors are mitigated by me and controlled by me. And I will fall short every single time, but it's a different type of stress.
yeah,
And for me, like I tell my buddies that are still in or that ask me if it'll be a good option. For me, it worked. For me, everything worked out the way that it should
good.
because
Well,
I was scared. I was scared to take the leap. I was scared to whether it was going to work out or not. Uh, I mean, even processing the first batch of broilers, I'm like, damn, bro, what if we don't sell it? It was to the point where I was giving it away because, well, I was like, let everybody try it because we're that way they get hooked or whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's all working out, and sometimes people do need to take that leap, especially for something that they're going to thoroughly enjoy and just be happy with.
yeah, and if you're going to get into ranching or farming, you will have failures. You will want to quit. many times you get frustrated. Everything seems to die. Everything seems to get sick.
It's so
Um,
true.
Everything kills your chickens. You'll just walk out and there'll be chickens dead, and you're like,
Yeah,
"What happened?" I mean, just stick, stay fast, stay fast. What they say, stay true. You'll endure through it. Ask for
yep,
help.
yep,
Definitely ask for help. There's plenty of people out there that know a lot more than me,
yep.
and just don't just be a little bit humble yourself and don't have so much pride and ask for help. That's one thing I often don't do. I think I know everything, and I'm like, oh, I'm not. And I've asked for help from ladies. That this lady that we were having trouble. Someone called me. They were like, hey, um, my 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 sheep is giving birth, and they call me because I'm one of the, I guess because they knew me. I raise sheep. And I was like, shoot, I don't know what to do. So I called another friend. So I'm on the phone with, with my wife's phone and this other phone, and I merge the calls. And she's like, just do this, do that, pull the, angle the baby and pull it out this way, and it worked. And my guy's like, it did it, it did it. He was so happy that
That's
he saved
good.
two sheep that way that same evening. He was so happy, and it's because I phoned in a friend because I just. I was like, well, let me ask Jennifer, and Jennifer knew what to do, and Jennifer's like the sheep expert. So
Yeah.
I
Well, that's how it
always,
works. We gotta lean on each other in one
yeah,
way or another.
yeah. Well, thank you, man, for coming on. I loved
But
your
thank you for
story.
having me.
Thank you for volunteering. I wanted to just share veteran experiences, help us get through this. And like I told you before the show, I think a lot of veterans get frustrated, or not frustrated, but a lot of the civilian population just doesn't know what we go through when we get out, some of the trials and tribulations. And some of us just want to raise sheep. Some of us want to raise, um, broilers and chickens and eggs and just do our thing. We don't need to be thanked, or we don't need this and that. We just, but they also understand that these military guys, they do go through some stuff. And everyone's like, well, you volunteered. They're like, yes, we did volunteer, but if we don't volunteer, who else is going to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And someone's got to stand the watch. We just can't hire contractors to do everything.
Not
So,
everything.
but I appreciate you being a recruiter, taking care of folks. Our precious resource is our soldiers coming in, and I appreciate you doing that, and appreciate that your second career is taking, eating good, trying to find something good, and maybe we can talk again, talk about eating good and why you chose chickens and stuff like that. But
Oh yeah,
any
for sure.
final thoughts?
Uh, Final thoughts. No, nothing. I mean, like I said, like you were saying earlier, you're reaching out to people. It's just, and this is mainly for men because I think women are more open to it. Like just in general of talking. Uh, Talk to your buddies, even if you're going through it too, because when you deal with it alone, it's not gonna get any better. And I know because the same thing when I first got out, it hit me like a freaking train. I went from being in an office with 14 people, always talking to someone, to
Hmm.
being all alone here at the house.
Right.
And and if it wasn't for some of my buddies that checked up on me, or they just came to visit me, and for like my buddy, I have a buddy in San Antonio. He comes all the way out here to visit me, or to like help me do things that I need to do or whatever. Just reach out if you're going through it, or even check on your buddies, because a lot of times we find ourselves where it's like you got a buddy that killed himself, and they're like, "Oh man, I should have done more." Yeah, you're right. You should have done more, but
Until
we
you
don't.
can't, right? If you know,
All you have to do is just be like, "Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing? How's it going?" Or just like, I mean, somebody got to do it, like, and the same thing, like, don't be too prideful. If you know you're going through it, or if you're in a bad spot, either talk to your significant other if you're married, and if you're not, reach out to friends. Even you don't even like even if you don't want to explain thoroughly everything that you're going through, just having that conversation, a listening ear, can go a long way. But
for
a lot of
sure.
times, especially as men, and some women struggle with it too, I'm sure. But as men, we don't want to talk about emotions. We don't want to talk about how we're feeling. We're just gonna be like, oh, just suck it up, just suck it up. You can only suck it up too much,
Yeah,
like for so long. Eventually, it will consume you.
absolutely. Wow, those are very wise words, and I appreciate it, Jaime, for coming on. I will have you on again. Just spread the word.
But